Welcome back. It's episode 60. Yes, the big 6-0 of the Pursuit of Sound podcast with your boy Double Crown. This is a big time Gods update yet again. This whole podcast is, of course, brought to you in part by Zest Vodka. And now Gods is endorsed by High Rise, courtesy Charleston Hemp Collective and Deslin. My drummer, my best friend, my drummer, Deslin, works at Charleston Hemp Collective, and they are who own High Rise Beverages, which is a THC and CBD infused seltzer. Right here, I'm about to crack open a can of the grapefruit. There's also blood orange, blueberry, and mango, and then other flavors too, of course. Different blends and stuff. So cheers to High Rise, our new endorsee at Gods. Just so good. 5 milligrams THC, 10 milligrams of CBD. Let's go. So basically the night before last was Culture Klash 9 here in Charleston, South Carolina, which, if you haven't heard of Culture Klash, it is one of the biggest sort of it's like one of the biggest heady underground festivals here in Charleston. It's Charleston based. I mean, we had so many graffiti artists. Like, what am I saying? There's so much to say about Culture Klash. I'm talking about graffiti art because people are spray painting huge murals on the walls, all on the outside stages and stuff. And there's so many visual artists, musical artists. There's 22 musical artists. We had a cat from Jurassic 5 back in the day come perform. It was a multifaceted event, and we were so pleased to be a part of it. Where am I getting to? Basically, Gods got to play it. We played outside stage with a lot of other amazing bands. I mean, are you kidding me? Where do I begin with Culture Klash 9? There was a DJ stage, there was a main stage, there was an outside stage, there was just art everywhere. There was inflatable elephants, there was a UFO suspended above the main stage, there was lasers, there was LCD panels, there was just interactive art installations too, projection-based installations where you like dance and your like outline is like projected on the wall in front of you. All sorts of fun, cool stuff. I mean, I grew up going to Culture Klash when I was like, I don't even know, 16, 17, 18 years old. And it was the coolest thing that I had experienced at that point in time. And I remember there being DJs, and I was so into the art because I'm a hand artist as well. I love painting, drawing, all this stuff pertains to me and attracted me to Culture Klash. And I mean, wow, they did it up. Talking about like shout outs to Big Hair Production, Big Hair Davey, one of the main guys that puts on Culture Klash. Thank you so much for involving us. I look up to you. He's in an amazing band called the Dub Plates. They're like authentic reggae, and they're a perfect band. They played, they crushed it. It was so good. And he even got on our local main news station, like our local Fox or whatever, and had an actual like appearance to promote it. I mean, so many people involved. The city showed up, like so many new faces. It was so cool to just be there and meet a lot of new people. I mean, I can't wait for the next Kulture Clash, and I mean, we got footage from it. We're going to be posting our live set here on our YouTube soon. What else about Gods? Yeah, the day before Kulture Clash was our Athens, Georgia show, which was sold out and awesome. I can't thank everybody enough, especially Phantom Dan. Phantom Dan headlined the show. He's our old friend. He joined me and Deslin's old band called At Last Glance. He joined, that's how we know Dan. He moved from New Hampshire to Charleston. It's all because of MySpace. We met each other on MySpace. We were looking for a bassist. This was like literally as I was, mind you, actually leaving At Last Glance to join a band in Dallas, Texas called A Bird, a Sparrow, like around, I don't know, 2008, 2009, basically. That's when Dan came into the picture, and he played bass in At Last Glance in my absence for a while. And then he ended up, you know, bands disintegrate over time, all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. He ended up like getting an RV and like hitting the road with him and his now wife. They just went around the United States and stuff and lived that free life, and then ended up, I guess, well, not even I guess, but evidently making a home in Athens, Georgia, which is a really cool place. Now that me and Deslin have been there as of this past weekend, it was so cool. It reminded me of like downtown Charleston a bit, where it's like not too exploited, and it's still like got a lot of potent like bars and like a like low-key potent like college scene and stuff. And you know, Athens, Georgia is basically like a college town for the University of Georgia, and it's just thriving off of that. I mean, it's like an hour away from Atlanta, just far enough to be its like own thing, and at the same time still kind of be a little relevant to that Atlanta sensibility to a certain degree, you know what I mean? So yeah, thanks to Phantom Dan and his band, as well as Trevi and the Enemy, which was the name of the other act that went on. It was a 3-act bill. We opened up, then Trevi and the Enemy did their thing. I mean, we're talking about, it's almost like this dank rapper, almost like Post Maloney-ish, like definitely tatted, and definitely on that good like triplet flow, but like the lyrics are they're just so on the table. It's like you can't help but listen to him. He puts it out in such a perfect way, and he had this really dank band behind him. Like most rappers just hit the stage with a backtrack of pre-produced tracks, you know, and it's just like them and the DJ. No, this was completely different. This was talking about a drummer, a secondary vocalist that was a chick that was badass, a dank guitarist, bass player, I believe it was, 3-piece band plus 2 vocalists, and wow, I mean, talk about passion and power. They really inspired me. I'll take a sip to that of this high rise. It was such a perfect lineup. Like, Trevi and the Enemy has been, from what I discovered and found out, like they're so prevalent in the scene, and them and Phantom Dan and his band were able to sell out this theater, Flicker Theater. It's like about 100 cap, I think, but it's the perfect size room for all of us, and nobody stepped on each other's toes stylistically. You know, we're like indie instrumental, alternative math rock. Trevi's like, you know, awesome rap, and then Phantom Dan is like pop punk, emo, nostalgia, but modern day. And I mean, that night redefined things in my sort of all my dogmas and just ideas of the scene. Like I'm so proud of Dan and him, like going from, you know, coming from New Hampshire, joining At Last Glance as the bassist, and then doing his thing, getting a van, marrying his now wife, buying a home in Athens, getting this band off the ground, putting out awesome music videos, throwing on awesome shows, putting Athens, Georgia on the map for pop punk, like nostalgia emo scene. Like, he really needs a lot of flowers delivered to him. I mean, it's apparent when you look at what's going on in Athens and how he has influenced that scene, like single-handedly. It's quite impressive, not going to lie. And we have a lot of gratitude towards him and a lot of big love. You know, Dan, whenever you're in Charleston, we're gonna get you in Charleston. We're gonna play another show together. You got a place to stay with us. You know, you got a friend in us. It was such a good time. And we also played, I'm going in reverse order. Culture Clash was the night before last. Then it was Athens, Georgia, right before that. And then last weekend was Tampa, Florida. Shout out Tampa. Our first time in Tampa. It was really cool. The bassist and singer in the Pop-Off band based out of Tampa, he's the one that put the show together and helped put us on. There is a band called Seven Stone in Tampa that Deslin, I'm pretty sure Deslin made the initial reach out. Deslin does a lot of the booking efforts for Gods. I love you, Deslin. The best drummer I could ever ask for, and best friend I could ever ask for, best bandmate I could ever ask for. He pulls a lot of the weight for the bookings recently. And yeah, basically Seven Stone referred us to the lead man in the Pop-Off band, and he is the one that basically put the show together. It was like us, the Pop-Off band, Seven Stone, Baby Chimps, and also Colin and his band. Please forgive me. Colin is a teacher in Tampa, Florida, and he actually has a band, and they're quite awesome. He reminds me of Geddy Lee from Rush in the best way. And yeah, so we got to stay with Homeboy from the Pop-Off and shoot a podcast with him. Shout out Derek. Seriously, y'all, we got our episode with Derek's podcast, the Pop-Off podcast, coming out here. I'm pretty sure at the end of this week. Stay posted on that. We'll be posting about that on our IG and all that good stuff. That'll be a YouTube thing. Basically, we did 2 podcasts, basically. One of them was like where we played 3 songs and then did like a 15-minute quick overview of the band. And then the next one was like a long form podcast, like an hour plus. Lost track of time on that podcast. It's a good long podcast with the people from the Pop-Off band. It was 3 of them, including Derek, as well as me and Deslin. And so 5 people, each mic'd up, over an hour. I'm looking forward to listening back on that and, promoting it, all that good stuff. Huge love to Derek and the Pop-Off band. I mean, and everybody else on that bill, everybody else that came out to the show. It was awesome. We look forward very much to coming back to Florida sooner than later. I mean, we want to hit up Jacksonville, Gainesville, Ocala, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete. I mean, you name it. There's so many places in Florida to play. Florida's is like it's almost like its own country with just like it's just got so many awesome little cities in it. South Carolina really has just like Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Columbia, and Greenville, like 4 at best. And meanwhile, our local heavy hitter, Florida, is just basically a couple states away and popping off. I mean, come on. We need to connect more and more. We're looking forward to playing with Rona, ROHNA. They're an awesome indie alternative band out of Florida that throws huge shows. Their indie night shows. We're talking with them, trying to get something put together for that. But yeah, so we got to play Tampa, Athens, and do Culture Clash here in Charleston recently. And this segues to our album release show. Yes, we are finally releasing Alchemy, our second album, on November 29th, Black Friday. November 29th, 2024. Black Friday, next Friday. And we're playing the show at the Royal American with Acid Hawk, who is also on Culture Clash, and TJ Patiglio, a little bit of a tongue twister last name, TJ Patiglio, who's an awesome lyrical rap artist. And yeah, if you don't know Acid Hawk, they're an awesome like 2-piece sort of alternative rock band. Reminds me of Death from Above 1979. And yeah, so, what else? I mean, we're really excited to finally get Alchemy on the table, out to everybody, all streaming platforms, out to the world, the universe. It's 11 songs. The last one is like basically a bonus track. It is one that Deslin sort of came up with. He was the brainchild behind that song. It's called Azalea, track number 11 on the record. And it's like a sort of drum and bass, electronically produced song. It's like chill. It's like not like over the top drum and bass. It's more like chill video game drum and bass. Tasty, like nostalgic of sort of like Kingdom Hearts, the video game, and things like that. He actually sang on that track as well. It's the only vocals on the whole entire album. And we spent the time here in my studio in this room producing the track from scratch. The initial riffs he came up with on the guitar, just really simple stuff, and then we created a whole song around all of that. And really he did, and then I just co-piloted and helped produce it and mix it. And yeah, we went and got it recorded and initially mastered with our previous album's recording engineer, Matt Cyclone, and then we, all respect, no hate, Matt, we ended up having this guy hit us up who is a sort of recording engineer in the math rock scene. Shout out Anthony with Set the Tone Records. He basically pro bonoed remastering our old album and our current singles, and was like, hey, listen, like, I'm down to master anything y'all do. And we gave him the record and he remastered it, and we liked it. And then, but we wanted to revise it again, so he remastered it again, and we really liked it. So shout out to him. He recently did a song. He recently mastered a song for Floral. For those in the math rock community, Floral is one of the most coveted and adored bands, and loved, especially by yours truly. And yeah, so it's cool that you know, he reached out and was able to, you know, not only discover us and appreciate our sound, but offer his services and, you know, help us on our journey. So credit to him as well. And yeah, I mean, what else do we have to say? Oh my gosh, like for this album release show we want to have, we're already talking with people to get new merch designs on the table. We want to print new shirts for this show and, you know, start taking things up a notch. I mean, we're over like 3,000 some odd monthly listeners now on Spotify, which is awesome. Thank y'all so much for listening to our new songs. You know, we have 2 singles out from the new record. One of them's called Voodoo. One of them's called Sunburn. We have music videos out for those right now on YouTube. We're recording another music video tomorrow at Rebel Taqueria for the intro track called Up in the Air. We now have 3,406 monthly listeners. Can't thank y'all enough for listening. I mean, how else can I say it? Just so grateful. We're going to have a documentary that we release as well here soon, behind the making of Alchemy, and also road footage and just, you know, just us cutting it up behind the scenes, being funny, and also studio footage, all that good stuff. We want to put together like a nice documentary just for legacy's sakes. So, you know, be on the lookout for that. Oh my gosh. We uploaded the album tonight over FaceTime, and here we are, just basically just under 2 weeks away from Alchemy being released. Oh my gosh. Getting a little emotional, but you know, I think that's, I don't know, what else is there? I don't know. I'm thinking about the next record as well for Gods. I've got a lot of stuff churning up in my head. The imagination is definitely going off, or it's on rather. It's going on in my imagination for the sound of the next record, and you know, how we can sort of expound on our sound. You know, Alchemy is such a sort of like touch off of the last record with a sort of tip of the hat towards a new direction. I don't want to spoil it too much for what's going to go down in this next record. I mean, it's so up in the air still that, you know, it's just ideas at this point. It's just little figments of my imagination. And I want it to have like a little bit more production value, but still feel, you know, sort of raw. Though that's the fine line, like not feel overproduced, but have some produced feel to it. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting on the road that much more after this album is finally released. And, hopefully pairing up with some bigger acts. It'd be cool to be on the road with like Polyphia or Standards or, you name it. We're getting there, and can't thank you all enough for tuning in, listening, being a part of the journey. We love y'all so much. This episode is once again brought to you in part by Zest Vodka out of Charleston, South Carolina, and God's newest endorser, High Rise, on behalf of Charleston Hemp Collective. Shout outs. Thank y'all. Until next time. Peace. The Pursuit of Sound podcast is proudly brought to you in part by our sponsor, Zest Vodka. Zest is designed for people like us who love to have a good time, but without that terrible morning after regret. Okay? Zest started with an idea to make a healthier shot option. The market's flooded with high alcohol, sugar heavy products. Let's face it, promoting a culture of excessive drinking. But Zest knows we want a more genuine, transparent, and healthier choice without sacrificing taste or experience. So after Zest studied consumer preferences and existing brands, they dug deep into better ingredients. So Zest boasts proudly half the alcohol content, but don't get us wrong, significantly less sugar and zero artificial additives commonly found in traditional shot brands. Alright, crafting Zest Vodka was not about introducing just another shot brand. It's more about sculpting an experience. An indulgence-free drink that upholds the pinnacle of taste and quality. They stand to revolutionize the shot market, guiding it towards a brighter, healthier, and more transparent future. Yes, Zest Vodka. So please join us poolside, surrounded by friends, and enjoy Zest Vodka, crafted for everyone seeking a healthier choice. Drink responsibly.